let's
Okay, we'll
hurry
try
up.
to
So,
concentrate.
last topic is fake news. So how
Yeah.
to defend, how to avoid from fake news in the world.
Well-
Because let me give you some fake news cases. You only use 10% of your brain.
That's yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's an old lie.
Yeah.
That's going back to the 1970s.
Yeah. And then eating carrots improves your eyesight.
Yeah, I heard that.
Not necessarily.
Complicated. But in the Second World War, when the British were using radar for the first time, they produced a lot of propaganda saying that the pilots were eating a lot of carrots, and so their eyesight was so good that they could see the German
enemy.
fighters arriving quick, from a longer distance away. I don't know whether that's true, but it sounds like the sort of thing they'd have thought up.
Yeah.
And there is, beta carotene in carrots, and it is something that is used in your eyes to help the
But only
eyes.
if you eat carrots raw.
But you have to
Right.
eat carrots raw, and also, frankly, you'd have to eat an enormous number of carrots.
Yeah.
So, to make a real difference.
I love how so many of these, common knowledges that we have just circling around society and everything, they all originate from some sort of propaganda.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the circumcision in the US,
Oh, yeah.
or that's a bad story.
The next one is vitamin C cures the common cold.
That's
It
Yeah,
doesn't.
that's not sure.
No,
It's
it
not sure.
doesn't.
Yeah,
but vitamin C is used by your immune system.
Yeah,
system.
it does.
Yeah.
It does
So
improve
you
your
can improve your immune system. So on the grounds that it's not actually poisonous, and if I don't need vitamin C, I just make more expensive P. I take vitamin C whenever I feel I'm getting a cold, and I have some kind of infection, when I have some kind of
It's good to have around during winter season for sure.
It's
But
like,
to prevent it, not
Prevent
to
it,
but
yeah,
it's
not
more
to cure
to
them,
boost
yeah.
your immune system. It's not going to kill the
Definitely.
cold.
Yes.
nothing
And it's
kills
good
the
for your
cold.
hair.
Is it?
Good for hair.
No, it is.
Very. Last one is crime in the United States is an all-time high.
Wrong. That is also absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
It's dropped. The UK has dropped by an order of magnitude. It has gone down by 10 times. What it used to be per capita in the 16th century was 10 times higher than the murder rate now. And back then, they didn't have automatic pistols. It was a considerable amount of work to kill somebody.
Yeah.
You had to really,
Yes, they
and
really
it was
want us.
also dangerous.
But then
One
again,
mosquito.
you
They were
had
much more
significantly
violent.
less people, and those were more violent times.
It was much more violent, yes.
So.
There's a very good book by Steven Pinker called The Better Angels of Our Nature about how this crime rate, and it's obvious he's rather disappointed that it went down, but the murder rate, the crime rate has been going down steadily since 19th century. Probably.
Once I saw a very interesting graph saying that in the EU we never had more peaceful times than now,
Yeah.
and it shows that we had the Catholic wars and then the Crusades, and we had lots of different wars throughout the Renaissance and medieval era, and then we had the World Wars, and the last one was the Serbian, the Yugoslav Civil War, and that was in the 90s, if I remember correctly, and ever since then, nothing. No wars in the EU.
And actually,
And
Yugoslavia
less crime.
was kind of out of the ordinary. It wasn't
There wasn't two countries against each other.
Well, also it was the first time there'd been war since the end of the Second World War.
Exactly.
We think the crime rate is going up because we're used to believing that there's a lot of anything that we personally hear about. And in the old days, you didn't hear about most crimes because there wasn't much media to tell you about it. So nowadays, we've got all this media telling us about all the bad things happening, and we think it's always happening. It's terrible. It's going on all the time. It's less in point of numbers.
Just
much
because you
less.
hear about it more often doesn't
Yeah.
mean there's more of it.
Exactly
Exactly.
right. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly right. Yes, and it's just not true.
And the thing is that with the news is that the news is 24 hours now,
Yeah.
but But when I was young, it was on at 5 o'clock, and then there was like 11 o'clock. So it was just 2 hours of news per day. But now there's 24 hours per day, so they have to fill that with something. And they usually have a rotation, so every hour they go back and so that's just more impressions of bad stuff. So that I can see how people might think, you know, it's worse because you're reminded constantly of bad things happening.
Yeah. Because the good news that somebody didn't murder their wife because they went out for a walk is never going to make the
sad thing is that the traditional medias like newspaper and television, they're filling their news block with horrifying crimes only. Just everything is bad, and every news article you read or see on television is going to be something negative, and then to close it off with something positive, they say that, oh, there some kangaroo babies were born in some zoo on the countryside,
and finally,
and it's crazy how it's not really an intentional propaganda, but it's generating such a big cultural and social effect that it just could be one, right? It might as well be a propaganda.
How we can avoid, how we can defend fake news?
I think it's AVAZ, which is AVAAZ, which is a campaigning group. AVAAZ. They are trying to push Facebook into following up every news item which is found to be false with a correction to all the people who got it. So they have to send the correction to everybody who got the original news item that was wrong. And I think that's a very good idea.
Who can decide?
It's a nice initiative.
It's the right or
I think that's
correct.
a very...
Who can decide this is correct or incorrect?
Well, the EU could decide it. You could say make it absolutely statutory that they have to do it. But usually that's the way you have to go, because the government can level the playing field. Nobody's going to get an advantage because they'll be snotted by the government if they do it, if they don't do what they're told. So usually that kind of regulation does, and in fact help. You wouldn't think it does, but it does. So I think that's a very good initiative. I think
their job is to filter what is fake, what is not true. But you know, manipulated flow of information has always been a thing. Always. Nobody can tell what's true or false after, you know, a certain point, because how can you be absolutely sure? I don't think you can. Like
no.
You know, so it's always fake news is really a sensitive topic.
There's a very interesting one which has kind of died the death now, but during Trump's campaign there was a brief moment when it was claimed that Pope Francis had backed Trump. Which was a lie.
Okay.
And it kind of filtered around, and then it was denied by the Vatican, and it kind of went away. But how many people saw it? I think they said that something like...
And believed it.
And believed it. There were a lot of people who saw it and believed it and never saw any of the corrections. You know,
they show those at like 1 o'clock in the morning or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know, essentially the world is what the people believe. The people who inhabit it, right? So if you can manipulate those people and what they know and what they think is real, they will believe that, and that will manifest into reality eventually.
So, I'm afraid so,
From my point of view, individually, we should increase our capability to distinguish that this is a correct news or incorrect news. We should study ourselves also. There's individually also we can.
Rules of thumb. Don't believe anything by a tied media source. So if it's tied to a particular party, or it's tied to even a particular group of people, you can't really trust it.
Also, you can look up a piece of news from several sources.
This is the most important thing to do.
That's. I mean, nobody does it. You know, it's a nice idealistic idea. You know,
it is, but it is the best thing to do.
It's the best thing to do, and.
All right.
Okay, thank you for coming in today.
Okay.
And I hope to see you again as a guest too. Thank you, and Budapest Talk Night. See you next time, like this.